What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is going to be the first video in a Tradingview Pinescript tutorial series. Don't know how long it's going to be or how many videos we're going to end up making, but wrote out a little lesson plan. We're going to see what we can get to. So hopefully you're in the right place. For those who use Tradingview, the native programming language for the platform is called Pinescript. Which is responsible for building all the indicators that most of you use. At first glance, it does look pretty scary, and there is not a lot of documentation on it, which myself and my business partner learned. So we pretty much went through all the documentation and not a lot of available resources. So hopefully this will give you an introduction to help save you some time. Get you into programming if you want. So, alright. So what we're going to be covering is basic Pinescript syntax, so basics of the language format, how to set up a script, customizing your indicators, a variety of plotting options, and how to make a MACD. We're also going to go into some more advanced concepts later on. This will just give you an overview of the language, kind of a baseline, and then depending on where you want to go from here, should be a little bit easier. So, why choose a MACD? Wanted to choose an indicator that most of you were familiar with so that you could compare it to maybe the MACD you already use or a bunch of other variations. The math is really simple, and in my experience teaching people, it's a good indicator because building it in Pinescript kind of catches all the needs that you might have for learning. There's function, there's declaring variables, inputs, whole bunch of nice little tips and tricks that'll get you started in Pinescript. All right, so first things first. There's two types of scripts in Tradingview. You have studies and strategies. Studies are what most people use and reacts to real-time data. Strategies are indicators of the same nature, but they have buy and sell points. So you can always see how a certain strategy would have performed given market conditions. Many people, well, I guess we started specifically wanting to get into algo trading. Spent a lot of time writing strategies, and then we'd use AutoView to automate those strategies. But the problem that rises from that is there's a delay, and your control over your buys and sells is less than you would hope so. And so if spread becomes an issue, there's always the risk that if the server fails or one of the API calls fails, and it's difficult to implement stop losses. So I would recommend it for testing purposes only, would not use it in actual practice. But hey, if you have good luck with it, great. So when you start a new script, so if we hit new, it'll do the same thing here. So blank indicator script, it will have these three lines. Let's zoom in for you. Version number, it'll say study, which like we said is different than a strategy. Have a title, and then it has to always have one plot function. So right now it's just plotting close. You can add this to your chart, and it's just plotting the close of the Dow Jones. Right, so I'm going to try to include some of the documentation, which is available through the Pinescript or through the Pinescript window. So something like study allows you to have a title, which is the title that will show up in the script menus, short title, which is the title on the actual indicator, overlay, whether or not you want it as an oscillator down here or on the actual screen. It's a I don't remember actually. Precision scale and max bars back, all different settings. Usually I only use these first three, and you can see what it would look like implemented if you were actually using it. And this expands on the requirements for the study function. Only the title is required, everything else is optional. Yeah, overlay is Boolean. That's what I couldn't remember. So, let's check this out. Oopsie. Okay. Right, so like I said, it must be a study or strategy, must contain at least one plot. So default scripts look like this, right? And so, what we're going to want to do is you're going to open some sort of IDE, right, or interactive development environment. And we're going to want to say, I'm going to save it as benuquants underscore macd.txt. And then I'm going to make sure that it is in CSS just for highlighting reasons. And so we're going to want the add version 3, version equals 3. And we're going to say study. Oops. Okay, maybe I can't use CSS. I like to have some kind of, we'll try Python. I like to have some sort of syntax highlighting because it makes it easier to read. Right, and so we're going to call it my first MACD. Okay, and we're just going to leave that as it is, and for now we're just going to plot close. Okay, and so if we go back here, you can click this open. I'm going to get rid of you now. We're just going to paste that in, right? Title script, my first MACD. Save it, click add to chart, and we have something, but it's not the MACD we want. Okay, so in the next video we are going to start coding and get into the formula, and from there see where we end up. So I'll see you guys in the next video.